Hello everyone and welcome back to the MCFC Lads Podcast. It's episode 19. It feels like quite a positive one, Alex. 2-0 win over Huddersfield. It was a formality really in the cup last night, but we take it.
Yeah, we take it all day, as you say. It was very comfortable. It was a formality. I think we all went in quite positive, quite confident we were going to get the win, and we did. We got to see some of the young players. We got to see Calvin Phillips, which is always a positive. And it's off the back of what was a good previous week as well. So I feel like the mood around the club right now is pretty good.
Yeah, well, before that international break, I remember coming back from that Brighton game with your dad and your brother and you, and it was woeful. It was such a bad mood. Liverpool beat Arsenal. We had 3 points from 3 games. It was just, after losing to Tottenham that week before, everything felt a bit down. And then since the international break, we were both saying everyone needs to stay positive. It's not a continuation of last season. We were saying this to people that weren't believing us. And we were trying to be positive, and we were saying basically that was a bit pre-season. We've got to get rolling after the international break. It seems like we are rolling a little bit. We smashed United, we beat Napoli, got a point at Arsenal, nearly won that game, and now we've beaten Huddersfield. So from 4 games in 10 days, we've got 3 wins and a draw. We've conceded 1 goal, and now we just need to kick on a bit in the league.
Yeah, I mean, look, if anyone had offered you the results we've had after that Brighton game, would have snapped hand off for it.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider we've now got Swansea away in the next round of the Cup, which, when you look at some of the other draws, we've absolutely smashed it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we need to get a little bit of form going in the league. We are still away off top. I believe we're now 8 points off top, which is, I mean, it looks bad, but it's not as bad as I think it seems. I think Liverpool have got a bit lucky at times. We're only, 3 points off Arsenal. We've been to the Emirates. We've played United at home. We've played Tottenham at home. We've played Brighton away. Like, they're not easy fixtures. Yeah, we need to get rolling, get some wins, pick up momentum sort of on the back burner, keep ourselves with a low profile. We've got a decent run of games coming up now to try and hit some good form. And if we go and win our next 5 or so, then I think in a few weeks we're looking at a very, very different picture.
Yeah, I agree, mate. We've got to keep it rolling. Just think about that performance last night. It wasn't the best game, as we know, but Foden scored an unbelievable goal. I mean, I know it's Huddersfield, but even before that, he's looked back to his best. 10 academy graduates from City featured in the squad, and 8 made an appearance or played, which is unbelievable. And PEP, he was defiant in that press conference. I don't know if you saw. There's a funny picture from it. He was asked if he was interested in this tournament, and he said, "Why would I win 4 in a row if I wasn't interested?" And then he said the same again. Basically, would he be interested in the Premier League? He's won 4 of that in a row. He's won 6 in 8 years. They often try and get a little clip or soundbite out of PEP, and he always gives them one, but it's not the one they wanted, which is good. He seems hungry. He seems ready to go. As the title of this podcast is, that's what you want. That is exactly what you want.
Yeah, I mean, Pep's hunger this year can't be questioned. I think a lot of people, what's weird is a lot of people actually have questioned it, said that maybe he's finished and he's not ready to go again. But I think everything we've seen so far this year suggests he's ready to go again. He's got a new set of coaching staff around him to keep that sort of fire in the coaching team. Going back to what you said about the performance with Foden looked a class above, I thought, yesterday. He's far too good for that level. But we knew that already, but I mean, he just showed it once again. It was a great goal, as you said. Nice at 1-2 with Mikasa for his goal. The academy graduates thing, that's great. The CFA fully paying off. We already knew this. But what's better, I think, about the fact there was 8 academy graduates that played is how many of them are actual first teamers these days as well. You've got Rico Lewis, Nico Riley, James Trafford, Phil Foden, Oscar Bob. They're all key members of the first team, in my opinion. So it's not like we've just given sort of a bunch of random academy graduates games. These are proper City players. And we also got to see both the Heskies. Shame we didn't get to see Mfuni. But yeah, on the whole, it was a very, very positive day yesterday. And like you said, that PEP press conference was very, very good as well.
Yeah, all the big teams made it through. There weren't really any upsets, to be fair. I mean, the one you could maybe say is Grimsby, Sheffield Wednesday last week, but Wednesday are in a lot of bother and they only limped past Leeds somehow. Did very well to beat Leeds, to be honest, with a complete, almost academy team. They put out the same team against Grimsby and lost, so I don't think that was an upset. There weren't really any upsets, but like you said, Swansea away in the next round. For us travelling to that, it's one that will be tough to get to. It'll be definitely tough to get to. I'm not sure whether you'll make it or whether I'll make it. I'm not sure yet on that. But in terms of the difficulty of the fixture, we should hopefully make it through to round 5. But you know, we can't disrespect them at all. They'll be up for it.
Yeah, I mean they got past Forest in the last round, so it's not an easy fixture per se. But you look at Arsenal playing Brighton, Newcastle against Tottenham. Chelsea got Wolves, which isn't too difficult. Liverpool have got Palace. Like, there's a lot of difficult fixtures in there for the big 6 teams. So obviously the big 6 teams include United, but they're not in the competition because they lost to Grimsby. I just feel like that should be mentioned once again. But Yeah, I think we've done well in the draw ultimately. Like you say, it's a long way to go, and I'm not sure if I will be making it. So I think my streak personally will be ending at Swansea away, 4.5 hours on the train. So yeah, I think I'll pass that one.
Yeah,
But it's still a good fixture for us to get in terms of progressing in the cup. And if we win that, we're in the quarterfinals, and we're just 3 wins away from the final.
Yeah, exactly. So not bad at all. Not bad at all. But in terms of the game at the weekend, we'll touch on the Arsenal game before we move on to some other stuff. We were both there. I was somehow pitch side. I enjoyed that. I don't know if anyone saw. I did a bit of pitch side stuff. I was still in the away end though, and I thought it was a very good performance. We were rigid. Unfortunately, I think what cost us was just a little bit of a lapse in concentration in the last few minutes. We defended so hard, so well from the majority of the game. There's a lot of pragmatism from Pep. And this weird stuff people coming out with saying that Pep's changed, Pep's parking the bus and all this. He's obviously respecting Arsenal as a team, but ultimately, it's sensible. It's sensible. I don't want to see us charge at Arsenal in a game like that and lose. That's not what you want to do. So we almost did get the win over the line. It was a great goal at the end. The injuries and the subs at the back were what kind of maybe caused a lack of concentration for me anyway. It was unfortunate. I think it was the Ake that played him on side. Donnarumma was a bit off his line. It's unfortunate, is what it is. We got a point out of a very tough game. A point that some City fans would have taken at the start of the game, I think. But ultimately, that's a decent point that you look back at the end of the season. One of the points maybe you got against Liverpool a few years ago and thought, that's all right away from home. Hopefully we can beat them at home. But yeah, how did you feel about that generally, mate? There's a weird reaction to that from some people.
Yeah, I mean, I said before the game last week in last week's pod that a point's a good result. I mean, Arsenal right now, as much as it's horrible to say, they probably are a little bit better than us. They're 6 years into their project. They're sort of at the peak of their powers now. They're probably not going to get much better from here on in, and they're expected probably to win a title at this point. We are ultimately at the very, very start of a new project, and I think in the minds of some City fans, we should still always have the mentality of we're the best, we should be going to win the title. And obviously our goal this year is to win the title, but the reality of the fact is we've got a lot of new players bedding in. It's just not quite that simple to say straight away, right, we should be going toe-to-toe with Arsenal. And so we gave them the respect they deserved, and it nearly paid off. We were 4 or 5 minutes from winning the game. Obviously, like I said, people moan about Pep changing. I don't think so much he's changed. I think if we aren't 1-0 up, we don't just sit back and defend, because we don't just take a point. And you can see that because as soon as they scored, we instantly started trying to attack and started trying to cause problems. But you 1-0 up at the Emirates, you're absolutely stupid if you think we're then going to go toe-to-toe and try and play them off the park, because they will just score because they've got a lot of good players. And ultimately, it was their good players that came together for a really good goal at the end of the game. And fair play, I think a draw was probably a fair result in the end. I think Arsenal did cause enough pressure to probably warrant getting a goal. But it was a good point in the end. It's a shame we didn't get all 3, but I'm certainly not going to throw the toys out the pram because we didn't quite hold on to it, because it was a good performance, all things considered. And one thing I would say that gave me a lot of confidence for is the Champions League in the later rounds. If the league this year maybe doesn't quite work out as we're hoping it will, when this team does sort of gel together even more, by the time we get to the latter rounds of Champions League, the quarterfinals and semi-finals, it gives me confidence that we can go to the Bernabeu or the Allianz Arena or the Nou Camp, and we can just sit back and defend if that's what we require. If we've got a 1 or 2 goal lead, I've got the feeling now that we could sit out and just defend that result. So, in my opinion, there was a lot of positives to take. It's a shame we didn't get all 3 points, but certainly not going to start worrying about conceding late there.
Yeah, some weirdos were trying to say Cousinov wasn't good in that game. I thought he was probably one of the best players on the pitch before he came off due to injury. Hopefully he's back pretty soon. I think Pep said 3 days out. Some other injury news as well. Ryan Cherky's expected to return to training pretty soon and could be, with the squad for the Monaco game, which would be unbelievable, really. It's a quick return for him, to be honest. And yeah, I'd love to see Cherky in and around this team. Like we said, we want to kick on in the league now and get some wins. And we'll come on to, the upcoming games soon, Alex, but I think it's quiz time, mate. And you've got a 10-8 lead, I believe. So
I think we're 3 weeks in, so it's close.
Big week for me. I need to get some points on the board.
Yeah, so we've got 5 questions here. I'm going to start off with a Carabao Cup themed question. In the last 5 seasons, how many times has City reached the 4th round of the competition? Not including this year, by the way.
Not including this year. So is it just the previous 4 years or the previous 5
years? The previous 5 seasons.
I'll go 4 times.
Correct. The only year we didn't make it was 23-24 when we lost to Newcastle in the 3rd round of the competition. Starting off nice and simple there.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have Burnley at the weekend.
Yeah.
And in the summer, we saw James Trafford and Kyle Walker switch between the two teams. I want you to name me 2 other players that have played for both Manchester City and Burnley. So it can't be Trafford and it can't be Walker.
CJ Egan-Riley and Joey Barton.
Both correct. You could have also had the likes of Joe Hart, Taylor Harwood-Bellis, but you get the point there.
Yeah, I could have had Aaron
2 for 2 so far.
There's a few there.
In all competitions, who has the most assists for Manchester City this season?
Ooh. In all comps, who has the most assists? Oh, that's a good question. I think it's Phil Foden.
Is that your guess?
I'll go Foden. I think he's only got 2. I'm not sure. I'll go Foden.
I think he has got 2. It's not Phil Foden. It's Tijani Reinders.
Okay, that's fair.
Sunday. He got an assist against Wolves. I think got another one somewhere else.
Yeah.
I can't remember where. Right, moving on to the next question. So it's 2 for 3, which is solid so far. Back to the theme of Burnley. When was the last time that City lost to Burnley?
Oof. Last time we lost to Burnley, I'll go 2013.
Not quite. They weren't in the Premier League in 2013, which is where you become stuck. Yeah, fair enough. It was actually 2015 in March, so over 10 years now since Burnley had beaten us. A George Boyd goal. Not sure if you remember it.
Yeah, I do remember it.
In a 1-0 defeat.
At the far end, I remember that.
And then, this is quite a tricky question to end it on, so I'll give you a leeway of 1 either way.
Right.
But I want you to tell me how many times City have beaten Burnley by 5 or more goals in the Premier League era.
The Premier League era?
Let me change it, actually. I'll change it to in the last 10 years.
In the last 10 years, we've had So, is that including cup games as well, or just Premier League games?
Including cup games.
Including cup
games. Get one
games.
Either side.
We'll have had... I reckon we've had a couple of cup games. I reckon we've had... I'm going to go... In the last 10 years... Not many away, but borderline none away. But I'm going to go 6.
It's not 6, but you do get the point because the answer is 5.
Okay, I'll take that. Yeah, 3 out of 5 puts me 11-10 up, but it means I need to hold up a nice defence on the next quiz.
Yeah.
Mate. Might be a few tricky
Get Donnarumma
ones
in goal.
Yeah, Donnarumma in goal. Exactly. Let us know how you did in the comments. A few decent ones, a few tough ones there. That's the quiz done, and we'll move on now, Alex, on to Burnley at home. General thoughts, mate. How do you think that game's going to go? I'll let you speak, and then I'll give you my thoughts, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start by saying that it's a must-win game. There's no excuses for not beating Burnley. They've been okay. I mean, the points-wise, they're not doing great. They obviously beat Sunderland. I think they're the only team to beat Sunderland, which is very, very strange. But, obviously, they kept Liverpool out until the last minute. They kept United out until the last minute. They weren't great against Spurs the opening day, but they obviously can defend. They had a great defensive record last season, but I expect it to be along that 5+ goal sort of trend. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. We're in some decent form. Defensively, we're solid. We've just got to break them down early, and if we break them down early, I can see it there being a lot of goals in this one. But yeah, I can see us winning. I can see us winning comfortably. How do you see it? Yeah,
I'd hope the same. My dad said 6-0 on the way back yesterday, which we'd be very happy with. I'm not sure it'll be quite that many, but I'm looking at their fixtures here. They lost 3-0 on the opening day to Tottenham. Obviously, getting used to the Premier League again. 2-0 win over Sunderland. That was good. Very unlucky not to get something out of the United game. Very unlucky to not get something out of the Liverpool game. And then they drew 1-1 with Forest at home. So they've had a very good start, as have the other 2 promoted sides. Sunderland have obviously only lost that 1 game to Burnley, like I said. 8 points from 5 they've got. Leeds have got 7 points from 5. Could have had more. Burnley could have had more. They've all done very well to come up. So I don't think it's quite going to be, as easy a game as some people might think. I don't think it's like the Burnley teams of 3 or 4 years ago where you could just slam 5 past them easily. If we do get an early goal, it might be quite straightforward, but I think they will try and hold us off for the majority of the game, and if we don't get that goal, it could be hard to break them down. Having said that, I do want to say that with Erling Haaland fully ready to go with a week off, with Rodri with a week off, we should be beating these comfortably if we're serious this season. And it would be nice to get 3 points in the bag as well in the Premier League. So, yeah, and as much as they've made a good start and they have, done well, I think we'll beat them.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it needs to be a good performance. And we've not had a nice, comfortable win at the Etihad in a little while, it feels like. So
I agree.
Especially given how sort of poor last year was. So hopefully we can get one of them on Saturday. And it's just a nice game to take us into Monaco next week.
Yeah, well, before the Huddersfield game, we had 3 games in a week, and it was a completely unchanged side. That resulted in a couple of, niggly injuries and stuff, but it's, a Premier League game against Burnley. Do we see a lot of changes or not many? Because there's obviously quite a few changes for the Huddersfield game. How do you think we line up? It's going to be Donnarumma in goal. Seems like a guarantee now.
Yeah, Donnarumma in goal's a guarantee for me. I think O'Reilly's a guarantee at left back, given he came off early, same as Foden.
Yeah. Is it Gvardiol Diaz again? Or is Stones going to be in there? Or what do you see being the centre backs?
I think given Stones played yesterday, he played a full 90, same as Ake, I can't see him changing Gvardiol and Diaz. I think it's been a solid partnership. They've conceded only 1 goal in the last 3 games that they've played, and that was sort of when everything got changed about. So I think they've been solid defensively, so I can't see why you'd change them personally.
Okay, and then at right back, we've obviously got to make a change. Kuzanov's not available for 3 games like Pep said. Is it Rico Lewis or is it Nunes at right back for you?
It's a difficult one. I think going into yesterday, I'd have said it'll be Nunes this week, but I did think Nunes wasn't particularly great. I thought he was wasting the ball quite a lot. But it depends if Pep wants to play. Obviously, Rico's good in the tight space, which very much could be a useful trait to have against a team like Burnley that'll sit deep. But equally, Nunes is good bombing forward and providing width. So it depends how Pep wants to play it, but I think he probably will go with Nunes.
You think you'll go Nunes? I was going to say Rico Lewis personally, but I'm happy.
We'll go Rico Lewis.
Okay, we'll go Rico. We'll go Rico, right. I think Rico at right back. And then I think Rodri with a week off seems certain to start that game.
I agree.
It Definitely will probably be, for me, Reinders and Foden again.
Yeah, I sit the same midfield. I mean, Reinders had a full rest. Well, he came off for like 20 minutes, but he's had pretty much a week's rest. Foden came off early, so I assume that was with the intention of him playing on Saturday. And he's been excellent as well. So.
Yeah, and then we both said we didn't think Savinho had the best of games, but an unbelievable finish for that second goal.
Yeah.
Not sure whether he plays. I think it's got to be Doku on the left wing with how good he's been. Haaland up top. And then on the right wing, do you go Bernardo? How do you see the right wing situation unfolding?
Yeah, I think it will be Bernardo. Yeah. I think, like we said, Savio wasn't particularly great yesterday, although a great goal. Bob was decent and did a few good take-ons, but final product wasn't quite there. Although, again, his ability in tight spaces could be very useful against a team that sits as deep as them. I think it might be Bernardo, and I think we'll see him and Foden sort of switch about in terms of where they're playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's pretty much going to be exactly the same team as the last 3 important games, bar the right back situation.
That's what we've built, basically. So it's the same team with the right back situation's a forced change. Other than that, it makes sense to keep a winning team, like we've said. And
definitely.
Champions League game coming up, Monaco next week. We'll touch on that at the end. But yeah, Burnley, hopefully, 3 p.m. Saturday. That should be our bread and butter. That should be a big win. Moving on from that, with a predicted lineup, I've got a few community questions I tweeted out as we started recording. So hopefully some people have replied. We have got a few. Yeah, we've got a lot of replies. First one from Ang. Do you think our wingers hit great goal-scoring form this season? And if they don't, should they be moved on next summer? So it's a good question. I think it's a difficult one so early in the season to answer, but ultimately we need big output from our wingers. And if they can't get that, it looks like Doku's definitely arriving there. Savinho, the goal yesterday, like we said. I think there will be improvement, but ultimately if they're not putting up goals and assists, they're not performing it in the way we want them to. I could see some players move on, but I don't know what you think, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I would personally say wingers in all competitions this year, so that's Marmoush, Doku, Bob, Savio, should all be putting up at least 15 goal contributions in all competitions. Any less, and I would say that's been a poor season for them. And then maybe you address potentially looking to move them on, because there are good wingers out there, and I have no doubt that the players we've got are top quality. And to be honest, I think they all probably will reach the 15 goal contribution mark in all competitions, because with goals and assists, 7, 8 of each is sort of pretty standard. I hope they'd all get that. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, if we want to compete at the top level, they need to be playing their part in goals as wingers. And so if they're not reaching that goal output, then yeah, I'd look to move them on personally.
Mido, MCFC Mido, I'm not sure how you say his name. Do you think we'll ever be fully back? He said, well, ultimately, it depends how you determine that. If you think back is challenging for a title, well, I think we'll be there. Maybe this season, maybe not. But ultimately, we will be back to doing that. Will we be back to the levels of getting 100 points and winning trebles? Probably not. And if we ever are, it will be in a long period of time for me anyway. I'm not sure we'll quite be at that level because, like Alex said on the last podcast, I think, we had generational talent. Kevin De Bruyne is probably our greatest ever player. We had Sergio Aguero, we had David Silva, Vincent Kompany. These are club legends that aren't quite mimicked in this team of today. Now, that's just a reality. We have great players. We have good players. We have Erling Haaland up front. But ultimately, I'm not sure whether we fully back to that level. I just don't know if we will. But, hopefully I'm wrong. I don't know what you think, Alex.
Yeah, like I said, it depends what you define as back. The sort of City of the last 10 years, the one that won 4 in a row, domestic treble, 100 points, 98 points the year after, that's never been done by any other team in the history of English football. So the idea that we're just going to get back to that is like, it's not failure failing to reach those heights because they're just not, it's not normal what we did. Yeah. But I do think we'll be back to competing for titles. I'm sure we'll win one of the next 3 Premier League titles. I think we'll probably win one of the next 5 Champions League. So I think we will be back to competing at the top level, just not to the same heights as we were originally. But that's not a failure in any sense.
And Reece said, how many goals do you think Phil Foden gets this season? I'm going to go 20. I reckon 20. Last season he got about 10, something like that. Season before we know he got about 30 odd goals or whatever it was. I reckon he gets 20 this season. He's already got a few.
Yeah, obviously it depends how fit he can stay, but if he's fit for the season, I don't see why he can't reach 20 pretty comfortably. I wouldn't be surprised if he does 15 in the league this year if he stays fit for the season.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. So that's the community questions. Leave them in the comments if you're on Spotify or on YouTube. Make sure you ask a question, though, that will still be relevant in a week's time, because that's when the next podcast will be.
Yeah, after the Monaco game.
After the Monaco game. Also, make sure you're following us on Twitter, MCFC Lads Pod. Luke Stanley 03 as well. I usually tweet that community question thing out from. So make sure you're getting your questions in. Moving on to the games this weekend, Alex. Premier League predictions. Last week was a great set of picks from us again. You won 11-10, putting you 42-20 up after, 5 game weeks? So, we'll get on to our predictions, but also I want to just briefly talk about City's next few games. Got Burnley at home, Monaco away, Brentford away, Everton at home, Villarreal away, and then Villa away, and then we've got Swansea in the Cup, Bournemouth, Dortmund, Liverpool further on. But that next sort of 5 or 6, it's got to be 5 wins. It's got to be at least 4 or 5 wins, I think, in that. Want to be going as close to maximum there as possible.
I completely agree. If you're serious about competing, you've got to win all 5 of them. Obviously, there's some tricky games in there. Brentford away is no gimme, as Chelsea proved last week. Yeah. Everton are decent this year, but you've got to remember Jack Grealish will not be able to play, so he's probably been their best player, and they're going to be without him for the trip to the Etihad. There are some not easy games, but there's no hard games you'd say in there. So I would expect us to win all 5 of them. Yeah. It could be forgivable if there was a draw maybe slipped in there, but I still think that would be disappointing if we have any sort of ambition to win the Premier League. But like you say, it's got to be 5 for 5 in my opinion.
I mean, it's early days to start looking at the table, but like you said, we're 8 off Liverpool. They've got Palace away, Chelsea away, United at home, Brentford away, Palace again. That's in the Cup, sorry. Villa. So, they've got a few tough games, probably slightly tougher than us. I'd like to see them stumble a little bit and drop a couple of points just so we can maybe get a little bit closer. But it's very early days to be looking at a table. Still got to play them twice. Yeah. We just need to focus on getting our wins on the board, and that's how you get yourself up the table and get a bit of momentum. But I think the momentum is building. 4 games unbeaten now, 3 wins and a draw, like we said. Looking good. Pep seems hungry, the team seem hungry, and hopefully that momentum does turn into something a bit more. But we'll get on to this week's fixtures, Alex. Brentford versus Man United, a 12:30 kickoff. I think Brentford score draw this. I'm going to go 2-2.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky one. Early kickoff for United away at Brentford's never easy. But I agree with a draw. I'll go 1-1 for this one.
Chelsea versus Brighton, Alex. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, for that one, I will go with... Oh, it's going to be difficult for Chelsea, that. I'll go with a 2-1 to Chelsea.
You know what, I was going to say 2-1 Chelsea, but I'll go 2-0. I'll go 2-0 now. You've said that. Crystal Palace against Liverpool. This is finally, for me, going to be when Liverpool drop points. Palace are unbeaten on, what is it, like 14, 15 games? Something like that?
16 games, I think.
16 games. That's unbelievable for them. At the end of last season, winning the FA Cup against us, actually. And then, they've had a good run. So, Palace, Liverpool, 3 p.m. Saturday. I think this is 1-1. Leeds against Bournemouth, though. Oh, if you not let you do yours, mate.
I had 1-1 in the head. I'm going to go with 2-1 Liverpool. I think they're going to get another late winner.
Okay. Leeds, Bournemouth, mate. Hit me.
I'm going to go with 2-0 to Bournemouth in that one. Fairly comfortable win.
Okay, I'll go 1-1. City, Burnley. I've got the pick on this one, and I'm going to go 3-0 City.
I'll one up you and go 4-0 City.
Okay. Forest, Sunderland.
Forest not in great form, although a decent point yesterday in Europe. I'll go with Sunderland to grab a point in a 1-1 draw.
Okay, I'll go Forest 1-0. Tottenham, Wolves. That's an 8 p.m. Saturday job. I'm going to go Tottenham to win 2-0.
I'll go Tottenham to win 3-0.
Then we got Villa, Fulham, 2 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah, Villa stank it up a little bit recently. They obviously got their first goal of the season last week at Sunderland, though they still drew the game. Fulham bang average as always. I'll go with a 1-1 draw there.
Yeah, I think Villa have been shocking. Fulham have looked all right from what I've seen. I'm going to go... You know what? I think Villa might just turn it around a little bit, and I'm going to go 2-1 Villa. Newcastle against Arsenal. Now, this is one, everyone's been out on Saturday night or whatever. This is one you can just sit and relax. You're not involved. Hopefully we got 3 points in the bag. And we're watching Newcastle, Arsenal, which is a place they lost last season. And Newcastle are going to be right up for this. They've not had the best start at all in the league. I think this will be 1-1.
Yeah, I think both teams are going to look at this game and saying, we sort of need to win. Newcastle not an amazing start, not a bad start, obviously. And Arsenal are, 5 points behind Liverpool already? They've got to really be there or thereabouts the league. They should be winning the league this year. They've got to finally get it over the line. And so they can't afford to drop more points on Liverpool. I think Arsenal will get a big away win, and I think it'll be 2-1.
Yeah, that's fair enough, mate. That's fair enough. And then Everton, West Ham.
That one, West Ham are not looking good at the moment, are they?
No,
so I will go with Everton to win that one 2-0, and Jack Grealish will score one of the goals.
Okay, yeah, it seems like Graham Potter is not only all over every face swap I've ever seen on Twitter, but he's also looking like he's getting the chop very soon. So I'm going to go 3-1 Everton. I see there have been quite a lot of goals there. So, Alex, that's our predictions. Hope they can pull it back and overtake you this week. But we're off to Monaco on Tuesday, aren't we, via Luton. I actually am thinking about doing a little bit of vlog for that, just like the travel and stuff. Normally do those little TikToks and clips and stuff. I might do a little bit of a vlog. It's not going to be the most premium of experience for us, is it that, mate?
Yeah, obviously we fly out from Luton to Nice and fly back from Nice to Stansted. So a bit of travelling, but I think we did some far worse routes last year, so it won't be too bad. Yeah. We're living up in what I believe is a 2-star, maybe a 1-star hotel in Nice.
We'll have a look.
But it does the job. It's got decent reviews, so we'll hope it exists firstly, and secondly that it's comfortable. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be plenty of Blues over there in Nice. We've got 1,000 allocation. I assume we'll take a bit more than 1,000. I assume there'll be a few that go about a ticket. But yeah, it should be a good away day. Hopefully some south of France sun. And fingers crossed, 3 points for the Champions League group phase.
We'll definitely be making some content on what will be, a good trip. Hopefully, we can win that as well after the Burnley game. Not sure what else will be coming before then. Obviously, there'll be a vlog at the Burnley game. I've been enjoying it. I had that Sky thing last week. Did a pitch side thing for City at the Arsenal game. So it's all looking good. Appreciate all the support as always. And yeah, other than that, Alex, any final thoughts, mate? We got that event thing as well. That FIFA event thing. Let everyone know how that is.
Later today.
Got this like EAFC launch thing tonight that me and Alex are off to with one of my mates. Should be good.
He does have mates, by the way.
I do have some mates. If anyone doesn't think I have mates, then I do fear for you. But ultimately, yeah, it's a big week we've just had. And for me, a big week again. We've got to get some points in the bag, both in the league and the Champions League. And yeah, cheers for listening. If you've enjoyed, make sure you share the podcast. We would love any more likes and comments and any of that stuff as well. Drop a sub on YouTube, drop us a follow on Spotify. But other than that, thanks for watching.